Hey and welcome back to Film 3, The Forest Test. The Rendlesham incident remains Britain's most witnessed UFO encounter. Starting on the night of December the 26th, 1980, strange lights were seen in the sky and on the ground in a small forest situated in the east of England. What makes this encounter so important? It was seen by multiple US Air Force personnel from the two adjacent bases. The whole incident was documented by the US Air Force, including the base commander, who actually recorded what he saw one night on an audio recorder. But what they saw has never been fully explained and has become the stuff of legend. To try and understand what might have occurred, I'm approaching this mystery by asking two simple questions. What I've discovered is that they unlock a secret world hidden from all of us. So let's start by asking the first question. When did the incident take place? This seems on the surface obvious and innocent. December 1980. But let's dig deeper and see why that date is significant. We are now back in the Cold War. Peace is maintained by a delicate but devastating balance of power, mad or mutually assured destruction.
At this moment, you're in the central part of the United States, over 100 feet below the surface of the Earth, surrounded by thick, reinforced concrete. In the event of an attack, this entire structure can be sealed, protected against penetration of radioactive fallout. Through those doors and around the corner is the operations control room of the Long-Range Air Offense Force. The size, composition, and alertness of the offense force is such that the enemy realizes that an attack on the United States would likely mean committing national suicide.
It is madness, but it's working. The fear of retaliation and hence annihilation hangs over both superpowers. But in the 1970s, this balance has become dangerously unstable. The Soviet Union has been secretly developing directed energy weapons. The US military know about it and think ultimately their only hope of beating this Soviet superiority would be by launching a preemptive strike. The hawks in the US military are predicting global nuclear war within 5 years.
Attention missile sites. Fire at will on designated targets. Repeat. Fire at will on designated targets.
History now reveals that living in the 1970s was a very dangerous time to be alive.
They have no other choice. We have the air, we have the power. And they know it.
Military science was desperately seeking answers. One far-fetched but possible way was the deployment of exotic military systems being developed in the USA and in the UK. This tension opened a door to new, wild ideas. One came from the father of the hydrogen bomb, Edward Teller. He was doorstepping politicians with his idea for a nuclear-powered X-ray laser that he claimed could shoot down missiles in flight. For many years, Teller had the ear of the governor of California. When he became president, Reagan ran with the idea of building a strategic defense shield, pouring billions of dollars into research and sharing those funds with the one country that had advanced military physics systems, the UK. Since World War II, Britain has secretly developed exotic military physics at places like Aldermaston, the so-called bomb factory, hidden in the hills at Malvern, an early incarnation of this, the Rutherford Appleton Laboratory near Didcot. And I think work secretly continued into exotic weapons at Bawdsey Manor, right next door to Britain's test site at Orford Ness, also in Suffolk. At this time, the UK's Defence Secretary, Michael Heseltine, welcomed these funds. UK private industry benefited greatly. This American funding meant that UK's defence contractors could work on their novel ideas. BAE Systems had a team looking at gravity modification, Project Greenglow. Marconi worked on computer targeting control systems, and high-energy plasma research was being carried out at the Cavendish Laboratory in Cambridge. The Western world now had a new strategic alliance. Reagan and Thatcher both collaborating on a brave new world, the world of Star Wars. Well, that was your long answer to the question, when? But I hope it shines a bigger light on that date of December the 26th, 1980. So my second big question seems also irrelevantly innocent, but turns out to be very revealing. Where did the UFO sightings occur? Well, that's very easy. A small British forest of planted pine trees sandwiched between two ex-RAF bases now occupied by the US Air Force. In 1980, Woodbridge. It's the base of the US North Atlantic Space Recovery Wing and a secure hiding space for US offshore nuclear warheads. Of course, heavily guarded by the US, but an enclave on British soil. Bentwaters, it's a tactical fighter base, also with nuclear weapon handling capabilities and surrounded by a very secure perimeter fence. Both bases are under the control of USAF, US Air Force Europe, based in Germany, and have special rules about operating in the UK. Base personnel are free to move about Britain, but no military activity off base is permitted on British soil. Military liaison with the US Star Wars project in Britain is most likely between James Abrahamson and Roy Dommett. Abrahamson runs SDI for the US. Dommett runs the UK's Advanced Military Research Headquarters based at Farnborough. What exactly the UK have built and are offering the US is still unknown. But it's time to test it with US Air Force support. My second question, where, also reveals a new truth. Let me show you something on a map. This is Bawdsey Manor Lab. This is Orford Ness Test Range. This is the Martlesham Heath Laboratory. Whatever it was the British had built, it needed serious power. No problem. Britain has Sizewell A nuclear power station just a few miles up the coast from Orford Ness. And the US oversight, probably a team flown in from Wright-Patterson into Bentwaters Air Force Base. Follow these lines. An intersection on this map of Suffolk suddenly becomes clear. On British soil, isolated and sparsely populated, sandwiched between two heavily guarded US bases, this is Rendlesham Forest. Hey viewers, I want to break out from this storytelling timeline that I'm presenting to you and share what I think really happened. Bawdsey Manor and possibly other British laboratories had developed an advanced weapons system using Orford Ness to fire it, using the advanced computer control system at Martlesham Heath, with US Air Force military oversight from Bentwaters, and drawing all the power it would need from Sizewell A nuclear power station just a few miles up the coast. And where better to test an advanced British physics weapon than in a rural forestry commission piece of land between two US Air Force bases. The system was turned on the night of Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, by Bawdsey from Orford Ness, controlled by Martlesham and under the supervision of Bentwaters, and a glowing ball of whatever it was appeared over this sparsely populated British part of the land, Rendlesham Forest, attracting the attention either intentionally or by mistake of the two US Air Force bases on either side of the test zone. And personally, I think they also knew that there was a great potential health danger to any personnel who got too close to ionizing radiation or high-level plasma, which is probably what they were testing and accounts for what people saw and how it affected them. Anywho, that's my personal idea. A British device tested on British soil, sandwiched between two US Air Force bases, and as we'll learn later, sadly affecting the health of the witnesses on that fateful night. Let's go back now to the rest of the film because I've got more information to share with you. While researching plasma physics, I was told one of the hard things to make a system work was the amount of power it required. But maybe having Sizewell A nuclear power station up the road might just help a bit. To answer that question, I asked the current press officer from Sizewell Nuclear Power Station about the output of Sizewell A on the night of the 26th of December 1980. She never got back to me. So I asked the CEGB, the Central Electricity Generating Board, to provide to me all the power interconnects in the county of Suffolk. I got a polite answer telling me that that type of information was no longer publicly available since 9/11. Not to be put off by my unhelpful friends, I asked a man who knows what lies beneath the shingle bank at Orford Ness. He has a CEGB plan from that time showing massive wires coming from Sizewell and appearing under Orford Ness. Today these wires still emerge from the beach. Next to this place, the Black Tower, a building with a history of sheltering advanced military secrets behind its wooden walls, protecting whatever lay inside the building from the miserable North Sea weather. Bentwaters today is an industrial estate. One of the old US Air Force hangars is now a film company, who told me they found massive power cables underneath their hangar, much larger than any conventional airport would need, strangely pointing in the direction of Sizewell and Martlesham Heath. Bawdsey might also be on this power grid, but finding what really lies underneath Bawdsey Manor is proving tricky. Many people have helped me, thank you, with researching this project for over 3 years, and some have distanced themselves from my meddling questions. I can tell you now that this design of British cottage is actually the guardhouse to an underground complex, a secret Cold War communication hub for submarines, along with its sister site at RAF Edsall in Scotland. So there's some fascinating answers by asking the simple questions: when and where? Whatever you think really happened at Rendlesham Forest, I hope what I have told you adds to your arsenal of knowledge. But there's more. Another piece of this jigsaw, a deeply disturbing piece. Whatever took place on those fateful nights, exposure to the strange things they encountered injured some of the witnesses. In the next film, we will discover that their injuries reveal a hidden truth about what they were exposed to, and the shocking truth that their injuries were covered up, leaving some of the victims untreated. This appalling misjustice was sanctioned from the top in the US, trying to hide the truth from all of us. The same cover-up was tried in the UK, planting media stories about them seeing the flashing Orford lighthouse, or even claiming the whole thing was a prank by the SAS. When Margaret Thatcher was confronted by UFO researcher Georgina Bruni, her reply reveals a Prime Minister either fully aware or briefed on what really had happened at Rendlesham. UFOs? You must get your facts right. And you can't tell the people. Thanks for watching. Whatever happened at Rendlesham Forest, it is possibly the most important encounter with strange forces ever to occur in Britain. The truth is out there.